Hey y'all, it's Mr. Ropes with Ropes and Wings. I'm here with Rebecca Jaffe of Akashic Bec, and she's here today. We're going to be discussing the. Oh, got to turn the volume down. Hang on, sorry about that. Um, we're going to be discussing today, and again, this come to me in a dream last night or whatever. I woke up at 3:44 in the morning thinking, oh, after our live, I think we ought to talk about how people can optimize these earth suits that we're in so we have a better connection with um, the divine. We can increase that flow of energy coming in. We can optimize and we can feel better, get better, and start to heal. And we're going to have a lot of topics to discuss. But first, let me introduce Rebecca Jaffe, and she can give you everything that she does because she has a lot of different modalities she does. We are actually classmates in the live course that we took for Laura Whitworth on Soul Center Healing Hypnosis. And this is going to integrate nicely into the modalities she's already practicing. And so another up and coming Soul Center practitioner, Rebecca Jaffe.
Hello, thank you for having me, Tony. I'm so grateful to be here.
Absolutely.
So, uh, Akashic Bec is the name of my business. I do Akashic record readings as well as numerology. I'm also a Reiki healer, and now I'm an SCHH practitioner as well. So I've actually been following Laura for many years through YouTube, actually. And when she decided to start her SCHH, I was beyond excited and I knew I had to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so excited to get started on this new path.
Awesome. And it's freaking great. I mean,
Yes.
all all the modalities that you do already and would just fit right into it, I think. And it'll be superb.
I agree. And I'm also a big fan of QHHT, and that's another reason why, I was kind of led into all that whole world, I guess you could say. I think what Laura's doing is spectacular, and people need to know about it for sure.
All right, perfect. Well, how did you get led to Laura? Because my path to Laura was kind of funny, actually.
Oh, okay.
But
Go ahead.
well, no, I mean, go ahead. Tell me how was your journey to finding Laura? That's kind of funny.
Well, I mean, I really feel like it's all part of my whole awakening journey. Just condensed version. I began my spiritual awakening in 2009, actually. I know a lot of people woke up in 2012, but mine started out kind of different as a dark night of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt kind of lost for about 7 years. I started to, take interest in things, but I would never like follow through with them. And then in 2017, I came out of it and I just like all of my gifts started coming online and whatnot. And in that time, I was constantly in search mode. I was constantly looking for people who I resonated with, who had something that I could, maybe take some of that information and run with it and see how it worked for me. And then that's how I came across Laura. I was on YouTube, like constantly trying to find people who had something, powerful to say. And I started, I found one of her early videos when she first got on YouTube. And I don't know what it was about her. I guess it was her light looking back. And I just started watching, where she would share about, especially about the shift. She would talk a lot about the shift in her early videos. And it just deeply resonated with me. And I followed her ever since. So I've been a fan for several years now.
That's awesome. That's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Well, course, most of the people watching probably already know if they watched our live yesterday when I did a live with Heather Hink and Karen Stamper. Um, but like my journey with to finding Laura, and I was ever since all this craziness happened. Um, I felt there was something deeper, something deep rooted in our bodies, that we do these things to try to heal. We change our diet. We do this or we do that, and it just comes back. It doesn't stay gone. We still feel sluggish. We still feel bogged down. We still are not running at the optimum levels that we need to be. And so then I started looking at that, and then I found Beyond Quantum Healing Hypnosis, and I studied that. And I did my close friends and family with that, but with my close friends and family, I was running into blockages that were causing them not to get rid of any of those traumatic or emotional blockage that they have in their body, whether that be entities, AIs, um, and or implants, black magic, all that stuff. The stuff that we've been told it does not exist does exist. We just can't see it in this realm, in this thick density of Earth. And so we are basically bodies in a light. We are light beings in an earth suit, a spacesuit, if you will, to
A
function.
meat
And
suit.
right, right. I like the earth suit better, the meat
Yeah.
suit. But to function in this dimension, we have to be in a suit of sort, so
Right.
we can perform in that. Well, if our earth suit is not functioning at its optimum levels, whether that be blockages in any of the systems, the electrical system is the biggest component of these earth suits. Um, and just like any spacesuit, I mean, you have your waste management part of it, you have your oxygen part of it. So if those systems aren't functioning the way they're supposed to, you're not going to be optimized. You're not going to have that connection we used to have. You're not going to have that energy. And so that's why we're talking about here today. I think I went off on a tangent because I don't know where I was going with that, but um, so we want to discuss. Oh, I remember. So with all the craziness that's been going on, I felt there was a deep-rooted problem to that was blocking these things from happening. So we couldn't optimize these suits, and I started researching and found you know watching videos, and I found Laura's Soul Center Healing Hypnosis, and I'm like, that is it. That's the ticket right there to be able to get in there um, and deal with the unseen stuff that is holding us back. That's the energetic part of it, the stuff we can't see. The
Right.
other side of that is what we do for our bodies um, to care. So, we want good, clean food and water. That's a really important factor. And let's expand on that, because I think that's one of the top ones is what we take into our body. You want to talk about that, Rebecca?
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, you know, as someone who has struggled with, their weight and their hormones for many years, I definitely see a connection to, you know, like, I guess, being more vulnerable, if you will, to having, entities, having, like, on an energetic level, having that kind of suppression, and then having on a physical level, just feeling completely defeated, depleted, um you know looking for any and trying anything in order to try to get back to, you know, I guess, homeostasis, like trying to get back into that balance. What I like to refer to as, our middle space. I feel like they all, interconnect to each other, but everything that happens to us always starts on a spirit level. That has been, shared with me by my guides. And I truly believe that. And it's almost like a trickling down effect.
Mhm.
And whatever we can do on each level, our spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical being, in order to help ourselves and aid ourselves, is going to be beneficial. But when it comes to us on a physical level, and I've also been told this by my guides in the records, is that a lot of times illnesses, sickness and things like that, they're very rarely like there's a physical cause for it, if that makes sense. It's usually, some other kind of outside thing coming in. And so we're always like needing to purge, needing to rid ourselves of the things that have come in and tried to take over. I think in being beings of light, that's just kind of the natural thing. And we find ourselves constantly in a state of fear about so many things. And we worry about, getting sick and things invading us. Either from the outside in or the inside out. So as far as, yeah, I feel like in this society that we've grown up in, and diets being prevalent, I think it's not so much about succumbing to one particular diet. I think it's, clean, like you said, clean eating, a lifestyle, clean living, high vibrational foods, allowing us to rid ourselves of anything that basically is stuck,
Yeah.
And then having, and we're finding more and more that, clean drinking water is so pivotal. We don't realize all of the things that live within our water systems, or that's added to our water systems, that is keeping us keeping us unwell. And it's not just it, put into the water itself. It could be from the soil. It could be half a dozen things. But being in a place where we can, if we can have a sustainable living where we, grow our own food, but that's not a reality for a lot of people. People either don't have the room, they don't have the land, they don't have the time. But just knowing that you have access to things where you can honor your body and heal from the inside out, I think is so pivotal in your awakening journey and your healing process.
Perfect. And and the biggest thing of that is getting the clean food and clean water. It's not so much what you're eating, it's that there is so much stuff that is being put in our food and water. If we can get the cleanest food and water that we can get, whether it be growing it yourself or whether it's choices at a supermarket or something like that, the clean food is of utmost importance. And um, and the water side of it, we all know there's fluoride in the water, and they want to tell you that it helps your teeth. Well, it doesn't. It's a toxin. It calcifies your pineal gland. And there's other toxins in the city water that are there that are not good for you. So you're not getting that good water. So you want to be drinking spring water is the best. Distilled water or some kind of filtered water, but that water you should be adding back the minerals in distilled or filtered water, because when we filter or distill it, it strips all the good minerals from that water.
Right. And even though, so many of us, especially here in the US, we struggle with obesity. That's, well-known fact. We are actually malnourished because our bodies lack those minerals and vitamins and things that, like you said, have been stripped by one way or another. And it's so important to educate ourselves on, you know, what is in our water, like what are we consuming, and having panels done so we can see where we lack. So many people are vitamin D deficient, things like that. And there's a reason, I feel like there are the way everything is so beautifully, works together within our systems. When we lack one thing, it's usually because we don't have anything in there supporting it. You know what I mean? So like vitamin D and magnesium, they go kind of hand in hand. Just educating ourselves on, not only what we need, but why we need it and how we can incorporate it on a daily basis into our food and our drinking water is super important.
And talking about the water, water is probably the one of the biggest factors in this, because as I explained yesterday on the live, the medical community wants to view the body as a mechanical system. It is not a mechanical system. It is an
Right.
electrical system.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have adequate clean water, mineralized water in that system, it's like a battery. If you don't have it there, that electrical system
That current.
can't
Yeah.
flow. The current can't flow through the system.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing, and this is an important deal, and I brought it up yesterday as well, but the documentary that The Secret Life of Water, if you get a chance to watch that documentary, it will change your outlook on how important us even blessing the water, because we with intention can change that molecular structure of the water by just simply a word written on a bottle. We can focus our intention into that water and it actually changes it. So it's scientific proof that it actually does happen. And then the other thing too that they go over in that documentary is the effect of sacred geometry on water and food. So of course, I might think I'm weird or whatever, but I actually made countertop pyramids that I store that first glass of water I get in the morning in it for 24 hours, because that sacred geometry changes the molecular structure of it, changes it from the blob molecular structure that city water or um, nasty water has, to that pristine snowflake structure, and it gets absorbed into the body so much better. And then
Mm-hmm.
you bless the water on top of that, you are creating a phenomenal force, and you're taking that into your body and it's good. And you add the minerals back to the water if it's distilled, add those minerals back, that crystal, that sea salt, just a pinch of sea salt in your water. Shoo,
Yeah.
we got we got a perfect combination.
Mm-hmm.
So watch that documentary, because that will further solidify what we're talking about here with the water.
Yes.
And that
Absolutely.
goes, and it carries over to the food too, and us as in our bodies, because we are 80% water. Most food is water, so we can change the molecular structure of the food, and that's
Right.
how focusing our intention into it works. So anything
Yeah.
else you want to expand on that?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen where, just like, speaking and blessing your water, playing binaural beats for your plants actually helps them to
Mhm.
grow. Certain kinds of music, high vibrational music,
Frequency.
aids in the growth of our food.
Perfect. And most of the people out there watching me, of course, probably know that I use tuning forks, and I have them all through the house. So, but so 528 hertz. Um, and totally forgot about frequency on this, and I'm glad you brought it up, Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Frequency 528 hertz is the solar plexus chakra frequency. That is 528 hertz changes and heals and repairs DNA. So if you're playing 528 hertz in your home, you don't even have to hear it. But if it's just felt in a speaker turned down low or something like that, or the tuning forks at 528 hertz, it makes a huge difference in the healing and that of our water, plants, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and talking about frequency, though, we all know that they changed the tuning of instruments from 432, where it's supposed to be, and it's uplifting and gives you energy and makes you feel good, to 440, where it lowers you down and you feel anger, fear, the whole 9 yards. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason it was done, to keep us low vibration. So frequency is another really important thing to
Yes,
optimize these earth suits that we have.
I
Anything
agree.
else you want to expand on that?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a huge advocate for sound healing. I have a dear friend here who lives in the Memphis area who has embarked on a sound healing journey. And I was so blessed to be able to experience that. And let me tell you, just how quickly those frequencies can change things in your body, because just like water in the food, the molecular structures in our bodies, sometimes they get out of whack. They need to be put back where they belong. And I remember when she came to work on me, she had a frequency, and I cannot remember what the frequency was, but she had a tuning fork for nerve damage. And I have some nerve damage in my lower back. And I mean, I'm talking, I felt like I went to the chiropractor after she was done with me. It was incredible. I was like, I don't hurt. I don't know how to feel. I don't know what to think right now. It was so miraculous, and I guess we're just conditioned to believe that, especially as we age and things like that, that of course our bodies do break down, but um, it doesn't mean that healing is impossible for us.
Hmm.
And we always need to be advocating for ourselves in that regard.
Right. We need to take charge of our own health, and
Absolutely.
that's what all this is. Soul Center Healing Hypnosis, all these modalities is basically helping you to remember how we used to take care of ourselves, how we used to be uh, functioning at optimum levels. We're basically antennas. And if the electrical system's off, and frequency is a huge part of it, and
Yes.
I'm using the tuning forks in my Soul Center hypnosis sessions, which has actually had kind of a good effect. And the clients actually really like that, because they can hear that frequency in their ears when we're talking about healing an area of the body that we just removed the blockage or an entity out of. And it's superb to hear it, to feel that frequency flood that with that light and that
Yes.
frequency. So it works perfect. Um, Anything else we'd like to talk about frequency?
I'm good.
All right. So um, we talked about clean food and water. Another important factor and this is where the fluoride and stuff like that in our food and water comes into play, is our pineal gland. Shoot, I remember, just 'cause I've been a paramedic for 30 years, and we had never really ever covered anything in any of the anatomy classes on the pineal gland. They basically just said it was just a gland and it didn't have any function. So now, after studying all this and all, the waking up and researching, and I realize how important the pineal gland is. And if nobody knows where the pineal gland is in the body, it is basically your third eye, and is what is called the third eye, because it's your connection to the divine. It is there in right under the brain, right center of your forehead. It's and most people right now, because it's calcified by fluoride and all the other chemicals that are in everything. um, it is the size of an almond, calcified. I mean, it's just size of an almond, and it's supposed to be functioning. When it's functioning, it's supposed to be working and expanding out to almost the size of a golf ball. So I mean, that's incredible.
Hmm.
um, but what the pineal gland does is it produces serotonin in the daytime, and serotonin is that feel good energy. um, I wouldn't call it a drug, but our body produces it um, to help you deal with daily life. So at nighttime, though, it produces melatonin, which helps you sleep. And in the dream state or deep meditation, it produces DMT, which is a psychedelic that we can synthesize and make, but it produces DMT in the dream state. So for us to have that pineal gland functioning, we're going to optimize our connection, our energetic connection to everything around us, our grounding to the earth. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. That just came up. But grounding is another important thing.
Oh my
So,
gosh,
but
yes.
anyway, so let me finish on the pineal gland. So,
Yes.
but that's our antenna. That's our connection to energy. Um, and it's so important to get that function again. And the first part of that is cutting out the fluoride in the water, fluoride in your toothpaste,
Mm-hmm.
cutting out the aluminum in your deodorant.
Mm-hmm.
Not let alone that aluminum causes cancer if you in your body, and aluminum actually takes the place of what mineral in the body? I don't know if it's calcium or not, but
I
um,
believe it's calcium.
so for women that shave, it using aluminum deodorant, it actually causes a lot of breast, or it's found to cause breast cancer faster in women
Mm-hmm.
too as well.
Right,
So
because it blocks your sweat glands, which we are. There's a lot of our lymphatic system, you know, deals with sweating of the armpits, and it goes through our chest and everything. So that I think that there's been multiple studies done on that showing how important it is to cut aluminum out of your hygiene products. And I mean, heavy metals in general, they can disrupt so many things, including hormones, um, which our hormones are directly tied to our emotional state, and if that's dysregulated, everything else will be dysregulated.
yep.
It all comes back around in like a big circle.
Well, and it's all connected.
Mm-hmm.
So man, so us decalcifying that pineal gland is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have anything? Because I'll go over the things that we can do to decalcify that pineal gland. And go ahead.
Yeah, totally. So of course, you were talking about grounding. I know that might be later on in the conversation, but the pineal gland does, it does, like you said, it does help us regulate, our serotonin, our melatonin, and it also, I believe, regulates our circadian rhythm, if I'm
Mhm.
not mistaken. So, getting good quality sleep is also, extremely important to our process. And I feel like there are more people with sleep issues now than there ever were. And of course, having like, all of these electronics in our home, that does not help anything. Having Wi-Fi, having like a continuous signal. I know that we need it, it's part of our daily lives now. But having, you know, there are crystals that you can put in your home that can help deflect some of that, those radiating waves that can affect your pineal gland, um, and your circadian rhythm, and help you produce, better quality sleep.
Mhm. Yes, and well, one of them I have a shungite pyramid on my computer right now.
Shungite,
Actually,
that's it.
shungite's a real good one to absorb
Hmm.
negative energy, and I actually
Yes.
wear shungite as well. Um, and I actually have shungite on my cell phone. So
Hmm.
that's one thing to help shield you from the stuff that help or calcify it.
Hmm.
So some other things that calcify the pineal gland that is in everything: calcium, pushing too much calcium supplements calcifies the pineal gland. Um, they put calcium in everything. I don't really, I don't know if we're actually calcium deficient or if, and I'm going to assume, and I feel that this is probably right. Now, don't take me for serious or not, but
Mhm.
the other heavy metals that take the place of calcium in the body are actually blocking the calcium from being in the bones, which causes the bone degeneration. I don't
Right.
believe that it's too much. We're not getting enough calcium.
Mhm.
I believe because shoot, I have basic or well water, spring water. We're real lime rich in Tennessee here, and
Mhm.
I'm getting so much calcium.
Okay.
So, but I think you can have too much calcium, which helps calcify the pineal gland.
Mhm.
Teflon nonstick cookware
Mhm.
calcifies the pineal gland.
Right.
Fertilizers, pesticides, drugs, drugs, anything. Um, shoot. So those are the things that calcify.
Mhm.
What can we do to decalcify that? Um, you know, don't take too much calcium supplements is one of them. We already talked about the other, uh, eliminate fluoride in your toothpaste or you're taking in your water. Um, eat things that are rich in magnesium.
Mhm.
Spinach is rich in magnesium. There's a lot of things rich in magnesium. All you have to do is research it.
Mhm.
Meditation helps decalcify the pineal gland.
Yes.
You wanna expand on that?
Sure. Well, I've had a meditation practice for several years now, and I know a lot of people, especially when they're first starting out, they say, "Oh, I can't focus. Like, I can't." That is a symptom that your pineal gland is calcified, and no, there's no shame in that, and that the more that you do it, the easier it gets. It's really about your awareness. So like, oh, I sit here and you have to turn off your monkey mind because you're like going through your daily to-do list and things like that. And
Mhm,
did I turn my hair straightener off? Things like that. You have to shut off those thoughts, um but in the beginning, I would say just bring your awareness back. Like every time your mind tries to drift off in one direction, just bring it back. Always bring it back, and know that it's okay to not think about something. I
mhm,
think we shame ourselves into saying, "Oh, well, I need to be productive." That's a trauma response, actually. I need to be productive. I need to be focusing on what I need to do, when meditation is just a state of being.
mhm,
And it's allowing yourself that opportunity for divine connection. So not shaming yourself when you're in your meditation practice. That's actually part of your conscious mind, trying to block access to that subconscious that allows you to get into a deep meditative state.
mhm,
um, it doesn't take much. You can start off doing 5-10 minutes a day and work your way up from there if you want to. But meditation is so incredibly important, and grounding, like we were talking about, um, very helpful in decalcifying the pineal gland.
mhm. And so we've been, I mean, I think we've all been programmed that
Mhm.
it's it's simple. Meditation is simple. It's not, it's basically just sitting by yourself and just taking that time to just relax. I mean, it only could be a minute, 5 minutes is helpful. It
Mhm.
doesn't take long and it's simple. It's not that hard. We don't have to be some monk or something to be able to meditate.
Right.
Just get in a comfortable position and meditate. Of
Right.
course, I always call when I'm sleeping in my lazy boy meditating, but it really is. I mean, that's if I'm taking a nap, it's meditation. It's not. It's just clearing your mind of all the stuff and just taking that rest and relax yourself.
Mhm.
Um, being in the darkness is another one that is decalcifies the pineal gland. Sun
Mhm.
gazing, if
Mhm.
anybody's ever heard of sun gazing, um, the last few minutes of the sunrise, the last few minutes before the sunset, sun gazing. Don't look into the sun when it's bright.
Right.
Shit, you burn your eyes out. But that's
Right.
that's
I can
that's really,
attest to sun
yeah,
gazing does
yeah.
work. It is phenomenal.
Hmm.
It's, I mean, it almost feels like you've been plugged in, you're like, oh, I'm ready to go. It's very energizing, actually, especially in the morning. So yeah, I highly recommend sun gazing for sure.
Absolutely, and it works. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. It just feels like you're taking in energy when you're sun gazing, and it's just, I mean, we all love the sunrise and sunset, and it's absolutely beautiful. And I think probably why we do it. It's just so beautiful. But
Hmm.
anyway, that is, extremely helpful. Chlorophyll rich foods, that's another one. Um, Turmeric. I take turmeric all the time, every morning in my crazy concoction of a drink that I do. So, um, yeah, turmeric's great. And Rebecca brought up avoid EMFs as much as you can, and we could
Hmm.
use crystals. I mean, we're kind of locked into this dimension, and we have to use what we got until we get our telepathy and everything else going. And
Come on, telepathy. Let's
yeah,
go.
so um, and Karen just joined us in the chat there. So perfect. I'm glad. Hey, Karen.
Hey, Karen.
Thank you. So iodine, that's another one that's important. I could decalcify the pineal gland.
Hmm.
Um, Oregano oil, which man, I've tried taking oregano oil, and that's some hot
It
shit.
is.
It is some hot shit.
It's spicy.
And another thing that I put in my apple cider vinegar is, or another thing I put in my drinking water is apple cider vinegar. So that
Hmm.
decalcifies the pineal gland.
Hmm.
So I mean, there's a reason why I'm focusing more on the pineal gland. I wanted to talk about this a long time ago because I realized how important that pineal gland functioning is to these bodies. Um, so superb. Man, I don't even know what else to go on about with the pineal gland. Can you think of anything? Any
Not
other
off the top of my
practices?
head.
Any other practices that you can think of that would help?
Yes. Yoga.
Hmm.
Because yoga, people think, oh, well, yoga stretching, it's like, well, it kind of is. But the different poses and the breathing techniques. Now, breathing is also another big one. Um, as you get into your yoga practice, they're going to emphasize the importance of breath work, and that allows energy to flow the way that it's meant to flow within the body. Hence decalcifying the pineal gland. It's just basically allowing your body to function better, and that's why I feel like it's been practiced so heavily over the past few years. It's something that is optimizing the functions within our bodies.
And all this stuff we've been programmed and told that this is woo woo stuff. It don't really work. But um, my wife had started doing I don't know what it's actually called, but she started doing the poses and stuff to optimize your sleep at nighttime. The yoga poses
Mm-hmm.
optimize your sleep, which is helping her a lot. Of course, she says she don't get much sleep because I snore. I'd like to get rid of that myself, but um, so that the yoga poses and stuff like that, it optimizes it. And I wonder if it doesn't, those poses actually stimulate the pineal gland to produce the melatonin that we need
Mm-hmm.
to sleep well at nighttime.
Yes, absolutely.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
So man, boy, anything else on the pineal gland? It's such a big deal. I
We
mean,
could
it's
probably do a whole episode just about that.
right. It's our complete connection, and it's so important to go over that because, like I said in my anatomy class, we never talked about it. It's just there.
Hmm.
It's kind of like the appendix. I'm pretty sure the appendix had a reason too, and I'm not sure
it,
what it
it
was, but
probably did.
yeah. So they just shove it off. They don't tell us about it. They don't we don't get taught any of this stuff
Right.
because they say it doesn't exist. Well, it does, and
Right.
and we got proof of that. I mean, it
Right.
works.
Yeah, modern medicine has stripped what's the good word for it? It stripped a lot away from, you know, how truly magical and wonderful our bodies are. And it's made us, almost like shame ourselves when we're not functioning properly. And not really addressing the root causes. It just, no pun intended, but it puts a band-aid on things,
Right.
and it doesn't get down to, the nitty gritty, if you will. And that's another reason why we have to advocate for ourselves, doing the inner work, finding out, okay, what are my next steps? What, like the strings on the bulletin board, like where did all this originate from? And sometimes it's not even something that happened in this lifetime, as we found out.
Yeah, right, right. And that's where I kind of got my start and my awakening, because with all the craziness going on, I've always known for a long time, being a paramedic for 30 years, that they were not um they were not helping us in any way. They don't care to make us healthy. They don't care. The medical system doesn't care to make us healthy, because it's a big loss of money. So I always knew that, but I never realized how important it was for us to take charge of our own health, and that is the reason why. So we can research this stuff. So that's how I got my start and my awakening, because I started diving into, okay, so why isn't any of this stuff that anybody's doing working? Why is it
Right.
not working whatsoever?
Right.
Why do I feel anxious and fearful when I have no reason to be? Because I'm connected. And so we increase the flow of energy through our body. We start to heal. We put
That's right.
ourselves in an environment to heal. So let's talk about grounding. It's important, but it's really so simple that there's not a whole lot to talk about with it. I never knew anything about grounding till I came onto this on this awakening journey. But it is so important for us to get out in nature and just connect with nature, walking barefoot, hugging a tree. Good gravy. It's that simple. It's it. I don't know. I don't even know what else to talk about with it. I mean, it's our connection. So when we connect to nature, and we're grounding, we're basically taking up the negative ions from the earth, which are actually good ions. The positive ions are kind of like free radicals out here that we need to get rid of. So when we ground, there's that exchange that I mean, you can actually feel it rushing into your body, and you can actually feel that good feeling. That's why it feels so good to be in a place where you're just sitting in nature and just, I mean, we have to increase that connection. Even if you can't get out to just a park or whatever, get out and sit at the base of a tree. Put your back against that tree. It's a perfect way to ground for you. I,
Yes.
I mean, I'm lucky in abundance here, because I'm in the middle of 250 acres in East Tennessee. So me talking about grounding is, I do that every day. I'm out there. So why don't you expand on that, Rebecca, and give us some insight on that yourself?
Sure. So you're absolutely right. It's an exchange. It's an exchange of energy, and grounding actually anchors us back, just on a spiritual level. It anchors us back to Gaia,
Uh-huh.
which anyone who is here on Earth, has that connection to her, and it helps us to once again regulate our systems, regulate things like our blood pressure. um there was actually a study done. I can't remember what year it was. I want to say 2006, but it may be before, about forest bathing. So there was a Japanese study where
Oh
they
yeah.
took people with different kinds of ailments, and they sent them out and did forest bathing for, I believe it was a week or 2 weeks, and they showed significant improvement in all of their ailments, just by grounding and connecting with Mother Gaia, allowing themselves that time to spend that time in nature. She is our biggest healer. She is our biggest advocate for us.
Mhm.
She wants her children to be well and to carry out what they're meant to carry out in this world. So just on an emotional level, yeah, grounding is extremely spiritual. You don't have to be a spiritual person, in order to get the wonderful effects of grounding in your day-to-day practice.
Right. And you can just actually feel that exchange of the positive ions for the negative ions, which again, it's kind of sounds funny, but the negative ions are those good ions that you need in your body to help promote healing. And it's just superb. I mean, boy, it's just getting out in nature more. And
Yeah.
and they keep trying to disconnect us more and more from nature because they know that that is our connection.
Yes.
So the more you're disconnected from nature, the worse you feel, you know. Um, so man,
Right.
get out and ground, freaking optimize that body.
Yes,
Get out and just sit at the
absolutely.
base of a tree.
Yeah. And back to the pineal gland, it does support and help decalcify the pineal gland. And it actually helps us connect to our guides, to our higher self, because we're not being bombarded. Usually when you're out in nature, and you're that's actively what you're doing. You're not just going outside to take the trash out, but you have an opportunity in that time to connect with Gaia and allow, like you said, allow for that energy exchange to happen. It doesn't take much. You don't have to force bathe. You don't have to stay outside all day and all night. It doesn't take much because it's that potent and powerful. Definitely raises the serotonin levels.
Right.
Hmm.
It's amazing. Um, I can't, I mean, it's so important. I just can't really think of anything else to talk about with that. I mean, it's just get out in nature. So let's move to another thing is, okay,
Okay.
we fix, what we're bringing in the body. We clearing out the fluoride, clearing out all the chemicals and stuff that we're putting into our body. So we're not adding any more to the system.
Hmm.
Now we need to talk about how to get rid of the stuff that's already in our body.
Hmm.
And to start off with that, I'm going to give you my gross story. But anyway, so
Yay, gross story.
so so in order to, we need to detox from the parasites. We all, whether we want to accept it or not, have parasites living in our body. I mean, they're not supposed to be there. They're there. There's a reason as a farmer that I worm my animals once a year. So why are we not worming as humans? Hmm, go figure that. So you got to clean the parasites out. You have to clean out the the heavy metals that are in there that are blocking that connection, and that needs to be cleaned out. So you could do a heavy metal detox to clean that out. um, Anything else we need to clean out of the body? Heavy metals, parasites,
Chemicals.
the chemicals in there.
Hmm.
um, so Diatomaceous earth is one way to clean out the heavy. I think it takes out heavy metals as well too.
Hmm.
Um, so if nobody knows what diatomaceous earth, or I give it to my animals every now and then, um, it's diatomaceous earth is basically ancient seashells that are ground up fine. So what that does to the parasites is actually lacerate their shells, their protective shells around us. So parasites. I wonder if our flus and our colds and stuff like that is caused by parasites dying. Because if a parasite is alive in your body, you will never know it's there. It has this cloaking mechanism that you cannot see. The body doesn't sense it. But when a parasite dies, it senses it. Then it has, you have flu-like symptoms, you have vomiting, diarrhea, the whole nine yards. So is it because a parasite died that you had in your body that is causing you the flu and cold like symptoms? So it's important to get those rid of those parasites that are taking up your nutrients in your body. And so I never realized this, but 15 years ago, I was having trouble eating. I felt miserable. I felt bloated. I couldn't eat anything. It hurt when I did. And I'm like, man, I got to get rid of something. There's something that has to go here. I don't feel right. Can't even eat right anymore. So I started researching, and I found a cleanse, a kit from drnatura.com. Now I'm not an affiliate or anything with them, so they're getting free money if you go to them and look them up. But I swear by this kit, it was the best thing ever. I mean, it wasn't like most cleanses or something like that where it made you just feel absolutely miserable. And all it is a parasite kill that you take, which is a bunch of herbs. So it kills the parasites. Then you follow that with a fiber in the morning, and then at nighttime you just drink a tea, and it flushes out the body, kills the parasites, flushes out the body. So 15 years ago, I know nothing of anything. I'm on this cleanse. I'm working as a paramedic, working with my partner. I go take a shit in the bathroom, and I shit you not, I shat out a baby alien. I did not eat it. I was poking it with a stick. God, it was disgusting. Poking it with a stick, and it was just a big parasite that was in there causing all my problems. And after I did that, my freaking gut actually trimmed up. I felt relieved. God, I felt so much better. So, man, I swear by it. So if you get a chance, I mean, that kit I've used, I know, and I did it for 3 months when I first started taking it. And now every year, if I start getting those feelings back, I'll take a month on that, and it clear me back up.
Mhm.
But I mean, that's just superb. The amount of help we got from that. And God, where do you want to go after my gross story on that?
Well, I have not done that cleanse. I will say that. But yeah, I absolutely agree. I think parasites, like you said, we don't know that they're there until we know that they're there. You know what I mean? We start having symptoms. And I feel like parasites, we've had a lot of issues, or that I've talked to a lot of people about this, but Candida growth,
Mm,
fuels our cravings and things like that, especially sugar.
yeah.
And it's like a nasty cycle. It could be that you have a parasite, and the parasite caused the cravings, which grew the candida, and they're just having a field day on it.
Hmm.
um and like you said, it causes the bloating, causes the inflammation. The inflammation causes us illnesses. It causes pain and arthritis and things like that. So yeah, definitely doing your research, finding things that eliminate parasites within the body. I mean, I feel like that should be part of our detox regimen,
Hmm.
especially like when we're detoxing from heavy metals and things like that.
Right. And the parasites and the candida yeast in the gut system. I mean, if we don't have a good waste system with
Hmm.
flushing out the stuff,
Hmm.
that we can't optimize these bodies. But
Sure.
candida yeast and parasites as well, that's a lot of the reason why people have sugar, like intense sugar cravings and stuff like
Hmm.
that. And I'm guilty of it as well. But and so I still probably deal with that a lot, and I have to keep constantly cleansing that stuff out of there. Because I get a lot of sugar cravings every now and then, and
Hmm.
so that's a sign that you have parasites. Everybody has them. I mean, it's
Right.
and I hate creepy crawly things, and they're nasty to talk about, but that comes from me being a paramedic and seeing too much nasty shit. So
Right.
yeah, so God, cleaning out the parasites, cleaning out the candida yeast that's
Hmm.
in there, which we all have built up.
Right.
And
Well, and also, if you don't mind me adding, talking about, our cravings and things like that, stress is a big contributing factor to that too.
mhm,
And all of these things that we're mentioning takes stress off of the body,
right.
especially, we were talking about grounding, having good quality sleep. So basically reversing the effects that stress has on the body, because we're like in a constant state of stress, especially if you're eating the typical American diet. You have a sedentary job, which a lot of people do, or you have a very high stress job. Like with you being a paramedic, that has to be extremely stressful. And having to a healthy like coping mechanism too. On top of that, I think helps regulate stress. But as far as just the physicality of it, I feel like removing where you can, removing the stress out of your life, or at least being better able to deal with it, can decrease the likelihood of getting a parasite. Although it's not a cure-all, I'm sure we can get it from something that we ate, or something like that.
So Karen just asked on the chat there, what's the best way we can flush out with stuff that she has in her kitchen, which is really important. Do you want to, after, and I haven't tried this myself, and I got this from Laura's when she was talking about releasing trauma and a parasite clean.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't been able to research it as well as I want to, and I haven't been able to try it. Of course, I use most of this stuff in my drink that I drink in the morning, and I put it in there. And so, and you can expand on this, Rebecca, after I say it, because
Sure.
I've not tried it yet myself. So a Candida Cleanse. So you want to have organic lemon juice. I would say a tablespoon of lemon juice. You want ginger. I would say a quarter teaspoon of ginger. You want coconut oil, good coconut oil, organic if you can get it, for sure. And I would do a tablespoon of coconut oil every day. And then cinnamon. I would do a quarter teaspoon of cinnamon. Apple cider vinegar. I would do a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. A quarter teaspoon of cloves. And if you're not allergic to nuts, you could put a quarter teaspoon of black walnut extract or wormwood extract in your drink. And I would do a 2-week, I believe I would do a 2-week flush on that, taking that every morning. But the thing of it is this is cleansing and and killing the candida and possibly the parasites as well. So I would probably follow that with a good fiber. And after you do that drink, or however you want to make that concoction, after you do that for about 2 weeks, I would probably do Diatomaceous Earth for 2 weeks, and then take a 2-week break. And in that 2-week break, actually take probiotics. And it probably wouldn't even hurt to take probiotics the whole time you're doing the cleanse. It's not going to hurt. I mean, it might be that you're wasting it or something like that, but take the probiotics. But in the break, you want to take it in the break between taking the Damascus Earth, because that Damascus Earth, like I said, it's she shells. It's going to flush out and and kill things, and that cleanse as well. Some of it might affect your probiotics in your gut, so you want to make sure that you put back the probiotics. I mean, we're not like my dogs who go out and eat the pig shit or whatever. That's how I just succumb to the fact that's how they get their probiotics, because it's not in their food either. But so
Right.
you got to put those probiotics back. So
Absolutely.
I would try that cleanse, but for sure, research yourself. Find
Yes.
something that you can use out of your kitchen, and go with it. Go with what you feel is right. I am not a doctor or medical advice for any enemy. We're just giving you food for thoughts. So why don't you expand on that, Rebecca, and clarify anything that I made confusing.
Well, I think you did a great job. But yeah, I mean it sounds like a fantastic combination for sure. Especially when you were talking about the coconut oil. I believe coconut oil is antimicrobial, antibacterial. I believe it's antiparasitic as well, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken.
Yes.
And the apple cider vinegar it's known to reduce candida growth. There have been many studies done on that. Cinnamon regulates your blood sugar. It suppresses your sugar cravings. And you were talking about organic lemons. That was something else too. It a lot of people, they can't really afford, organic foods, but
Right.
try to eat organic however you can. Make that switch. I watched a video years ago, and this was like a long-term study as well. They switched this family. It was like a mom and a dad and 3 kids. They switched them to all organic foods, and they took blood panels before, and I think it was like 3 months after or something like that. And the heavy metals that were in their systems were significantly reduced. Some of them were almost completely gone.
Mm-hmm.
And they, of course, felt a major shift in how they felt. They had more clarity, mental clarity. They had more energy. They had better sleep. They had, their moods were more stabilized. The kids weren't so hyperactive and things like that. So, if you can, get organic, get organic however you can, because I think there's probably a lot of brands that probably state that they're organic. But they really aren't any better than the regular. So I would say do your research, and like you said, use your discernment on these things. I'm not a doctor either, but I mean, we're all students of life. Doing your research is so important.
Right. Well, let's, with this shift and things going on, energy levels are getting higher and things, I really feel like things are going to look like we're going backwards, but we're actually going forwards. I think we need to get back to community. I think we need to get back to the connectedness that we used to have. So one thing that a lot of people forget about is, I mean, I know about it because I sell meat at the farmers market. But getting to your local farmers market, to get good clean foods and stuff like that. Now, a lot of local farmers use chemicals and stuff on their food too, because they just have no other way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they were taught. But that is probably a better choice than getting the industrial farm raised stuff, because they heavily use the chemicals and stuff on that food and the fruits and vegetables and everything. And I didn't know this because we used to butcher chickens and raise meat chickens ourselves, and we need to get back to that because the prices of food is going way through the roof.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
I didn't know this until I had a scientist come over and analyze, because we were butchering at home ourselves, and he wanted to do a study on what kind of bacteria was in um, the chicken when we butchered ourselves at home. And because the industrial chicken places, or poultry places, they actually wash, and this is what the scientists told us, they actually wash their stuff with bleach to eliminate the bacteria on it, because it's mass produced and there's so much, I mean, it's so nasty. Me as a farmer, it takes me forever to do a chicken because I try to be the cleanest person I can. And man, I just, because it's disgusting to me, and I try to be clean. But the fact that the industrial, actually washes their crap with bleach, yeah, that bothers me. I mean, it doesn't need to be there.
No, it
It doesn't
doesn't.
need to be, not chlorine, or not chlorine. It does not need to be there. So yeah. Anything else you want to expand on that about clean food?
First off, gross. Yeah, I mean, and two, just the way that these commercialized corporations and everything, the way that they handle their animals is so inhumane. And they're, that energy is seeping into that product, and then we're consuming it, and we're
Right.
just like perpetuating that cycle too.
Well, that's the reason my wife is okay with us raising animals and killing them. Of course, now I'm like doing rituals and stuff when I do that, and thanking them and blessing them when they go off. But that was the reason why my wife was okay with it, because she loves animals probably more than I have to be the death dealer and now anymore I don't really like it as much as I used to. But but she watched a few videos of the industrial butchering complexes, and it would just so her well, she come to the conclusion that by raising it and giving it a good life, we are are benefiting, because you have to look at animals as uh handicapped people. Uh, that's the word I was looking for. Goodness gracious. Those are the strongest souls because they come into this life knowing that they were sacrifice their themselves for a greater number of people. So you think about a handicapped person. They are handicapped, and most of them they've chosen that way so they can have, you know, help many more people. Their power, their strength, and stuff like that with those handicap abilities um, gives so much to people. And and that's the same way that I look at the animals and how we raise the animals. We infuse those animals with love. We take care of them, and um, and so that way they are loved. Their sacrifice is not gone to waste. They can actually sacrifice and spread their energy to other beings. Now, whether you're vegan and stuff like that, you probably just got pissed off at me just talking about
Oh,
that. But I mean, I think everything. I mean, everything is a
yeah,
being. I mean, even the plants and stuff that we eat, it's a being. So
right.
bless that food you're eating, and give it thanks for that sacrifice that it gave.
Mhm.
um and so and that's one thing with going to your local farmers markets. Those farmers are raising those animals and plants and stuff like that with love, and it's going to be a better food all the way
Yeah,
around instead of getting it from the industrial.
right.
So god, man, I don't know where else to go with that now. I mean, that was
Well,
pretty.
and two, I think it's great to, support your local community, small business owners and things like that, keeping that, within in your community
Mhm.
too. Um, so yeah, farmers markets are amazing. If you have access to one, definitely go.
God. Well, we have gone just completely around the barn, I think, because there's so much that affects us, and we can to optimize these earth suits that we're occupying, and there's so much to talk about on it. But I think unless you want to expand on any other thing, I think I want to bring it back to how Soul Center Healing can actually help, and being able to clear those energetic blockages that we have in our bodies that you can't see, that's
Right.
causing ailments and stuff like that. Now, yesterday on our live, uh, Heather and Karen had talked about um, what they're seeing in healing hypnosis sessions, that they're seeing a lot of clients that have blockages in the wrist, in the hands, in the arms. Well, that is how we give and receive energy. And I talked about this yesterday. The heart energy vortex around your heart and your heart chakra in a normal person that goes out 5 foot. Is it any wonder why they wanted a 6 foot rule? So it goes out in an elevated person, someone that is functioning in optimum levels. That range goes out. That magnetic field goes out 12 foot,
Hmm.
and so that's why a hug is so healing. That is why uh, touch is so healing. So when you think about it, an energy you're bringing, and Nikola Tesla said everything is looking at life at um, and everything is vibration and frequency and energy. I don't know if he said energy, but so energy. You're bringing energy in your left hand. Your left side is bringing energy in. So shoot, I've gone crazy. I mean, that's why I have hematite and black onyx and tiger's eye on my left wrist with a copper, because I
Hmm.
want to bring in good energy, but I want to block out any bad energy. You're giving energy out with your right hand. So I wear rose quartz on my right hand. but I have hematite on there, so I'm not sending out any bad negative energy. So that's why in the healing hypnosis session, we're seeing more people with some kind of blockage, some kind of entity in the wrist and stuff. I think back to my session that Laura did on me. I had and it was the left side, I had black magic in my left shoulder,
Mhm.
which she helped remove and send off. Um, was there something else that I had? No. Yesterday I did a session on a client. She had, and she described it, and me with creepy crawly things, I kind of hesitated and I go, it just caught me off guard. But she had black snakes in her right arm. And okay, so we're seeing this as hypnosis practitioners. Why is that stuff been put there? It's been put there for a reason, and that is so we cannot receive and send out energy. And with Soul Center Healing Hypnosis, we can assist in removing that stuff, the stuff we can't see, and optimizing that flow. And Rebecca, you had a story on your own personal session too, where you had something removed. Why don't you expand on that?
So, one of our classmates did a practice session where I was the client and they were the practitioner. And during the entity removal process, I had a blockage in my left wrist. And I actually felt like pins and needles in my wrist. And it's funny because I had gone to an acupuncturist several years before, and I had for some weird reason, I had inflammation in my left hand and my left wrist, and he couldn't he like would put the needles in and he's like, I don't understand. He's like, wow, you've got a lot of inflammation here. And I was like, well, I don't feel it. I'm not having any pain. I'm not having any issues with my left hand. So when he said that, I was like, dude, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And Archangel Raphael came in and removed that blockage for me. And he said that it was going to help aid in my healing abilities, that I came to be a healer, and he wanted to help aid in that. So yeah, I can definitely attest to, because I don't have, like I said, I had no pain before, but I definitely felt that energy being removed
Right.
from my wrist during that session. So I highly can attest to that.
It's absolutely amazing because you can feel this stuff that is unseen at the time, but you feel that stuff just lift off of you, and you feel the body starting to function. I mean, I've been on a rush ever since my session with Laura. Man, I'm lighter. I feel good. I feel like I look good when I look in the mirror, and so. I mean, I'm just on this absolute rush. It's like a weight lifted off of me. Like, of course, I look like a Viking, but I'm in the boat. I'm in a boat. We threw all the freaking excess baggage and weights off, and removed all the stops and the blockage, and we're riding out the wave to the shore. And once we hit the shore, we're going to burn the boats because we're not going back. It's a new adventure, new world, new life. That's what we're going to be doing.
Yes.
So, and this stuff is important to remove that. My client yesterday also had the tingling in that right hand from those snakes that she saw come out of a hole like a worm and then eating the other snake's goo. I'm like, oh my God,
no.
I can't, no. But okay, so it's not all that bad, but it's just, there's stuff there. There's stuff that's been put there to keep us from receiving and
Right.
exchanging energy. And so, and of course, Debbie just said I look so much lighter and a warrior Tony now. So I
Definitely.
mean, you can. I think everybody else can see it too. I mean, I really have been on this. Things are flowing, things are going. I feel great, and things are moving, and the change is phenomenal. And when we do these sessions on people, like we talked about yesterday, seeing that glow in their face, because we're doing them on Zoom, seeing that glow in their face when the session is done, and that feeling, and just that feeling of relief and being lighter. I mean, you almost have to reach and grab them because they'll float away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's just superb. So removing those blockages is so important. And God, boy, it's just amazing. And Heather had brought up, yesterday, where in sessions, the healing hands thing is coming up quite a bit in sessions, where that they're when we're going in there and helping removing the blockage and stuff, our guides, our healing teams are actually in there helping us remove those blockages, because we're going to be using those hands for healing here in the near future. I mean,
Yes.
is it any wonder in church, we or in the churches and stuff like that, they laid hands on people to help facilitate healing, and praying with them to help facilitate healing? Well, there's a
Mm-hmm.
reason and where that came from. So
Right.
yeah, what expand on it more. I talk long enough. Goodness gracious.
You're fine. You're fine. No, I wholeheartedly agree. For me personally, after my session, it felt like the first time I ever had Reiki done to me. I was a big ball of emotions, and I just could not even believe, that I had. It's like, oh, no wonder I felt the way that I did. That the clarity alone is so validating, and knowing that those things are not there anymore.
Mhm.
It is lightning, and you've definitely, like, you're like the poster child for all this, because you have been so, like, energetic and enthusiastic about this ever since.
Uh-huh.
Just your testimony is so powerful in and of itself because of that. I definitely think that people's healing abilities have been suppressed, even unknowingly, like in me. I mean, I'm a Reiki practitioner, and I and I didn't even realize that I had, such a blockage,
Mhm.
that it was affecting my purpose. It was affecting my abilities, in carrying out what I was meant to carry out in this lifetime. So yeah, I think this is a huge wake up call that, we can take our power back, and we can use this to, help flip everything right side up again.
Absolutely. 100%. And Heather says the hands are powerful conductors of energy, and which is
Hmm.
true, because
Yes.
even a handshake, a hug, and a brace, you can feel that energy from that that touch, and it is powerful. and
Hmm.
and like I said before, we're bringing the energy in on our left hand, we're sending it out with the right hand. It's how it flows.
Hmm.
And it's just absolutely superb. So we just need to
Yes.
to open up that body and create that energy flow, so things start flowing, so you start feeling better, so that body can heal,
Right.
so you can come into our power and what we are. We are all warriors, we are all healers, and we are all creators, and we need to
Hmm.
open up that flow of energy. And Soul Center Healing Hypnosis is one of those ways to help do that.
Yes.
Taking care of our bodies is another way, and that's on us, and we need to do that. We need to take our power back. We need to take control of our health and optimize these earth suits. We're all riding this wave in my Viking boat with the weight just off. So yeah, what else do you need to talk about? We're at
um,
3:20. I think we pretty much hit anything. Do you need
we
anything?
covered a lot today.
Perfect.
But yeah, I really feel like, I guess my closing message for today would just be, advocate for yourself.
Mhm.
Know that you are a powerful, energetic being, and, use your discernment, but definitely, do your research. Don't just take our word for it.
Right.
Definitely go out there and find what works best for you. And it's
Awesome.
222 here.
Oh, it is. Whee! It was. I looked at the clock. I saw 2:22 when it was mine too. So we're on the right. We're on the right
I can't
track.
help it. I can't help it.
We're on the right track.
That's
I mean,
right.
so so Debbie says you're awesome. So
Yay.
you probably can't see the chat. I don't think.
You're awesome, Debbie.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we're gonna wrap that up. Rebecca, why don't you tell everybody again? I'm going to put it in the description below. Once we're done with this live, I'm going to put the contacts and how to find Rebecca. But Rebecca, go ahead and tell them again where they can find you, and again what you can do and what sessions and what modalities you practice. So if they're interested in that.
Sure. Okay, so I'm an Akashic Records reader, numerologist, Reiki healer, and an SCHH practitioner. You can find me on, I know, I'm so pumped. I'm not offering my SCHH sessions yet to the public just yet. It'll probably be April or May before I start offering those. But you can find me at akashicbec.com. I'm also on Instagram at akashic_bec. I also have a podcast called Soul Prince, which Tony will be joining me in the next few weeks. And I also have a yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes, you are.
Oh, perfect.
And now you know. And then I also have a Patreon page where I have classes and all kinds of information.
Awesome, Rebecca.
Yeah.
And this is awesome. I mean, this is something that I've wanted to talk about. I actually wrote it because I keep a journal. Mm-hmm. And I wrote it in my book a long time ago that I wanted to discuss this, but slow internet and stuff, I never got around to it, and I put it to the wayside. And today it was just written in the signs. In a dream again in the middle of the night, and then the bald eagle flying by. I said I had to do it. So it's been awesome, and I guess we're going to talk again, which if you want to talk to my hillbilly ass again, that's great. I mean,
I absolutely do. I definitely want to, bring more of the SCHH vibe to my podcast. Because my podcast is called Soul Prince, and it's mainly about purpose through navigating your spiritual awakening, your gifts, and your past lives. And so this ties straight in with that kind of message. And I'm definitely going to be having, if they want to, some other of our classmates and other practitioners. Laura will actually be on my podcast very soon as well.
Love that lady.
Yeah.
She's my inspiration, along with everybody else out there, like Heather and Karen and everybody.
Totally.
They got my start. But I mean, that's kind of where my focus has been now is, let's stop focusing on all the crazy horse crap that's going on out there. Let's start going internal. Let's start healing ourselves, take the power back, and start creating the reality that we want. Yes. And that's my focus. That's, so us studying healing and us, helping to heal others. And it can be simple. I mean, it's just, healing is just a smile walking by somebody on the street. Healing can be just a kind word. Absolutely. And just actually sharing your light when you're out and about. That's all that's needed. Yes. Grounding to the earth and grounding that good energy in, we create a reality. So it's superb. So that Absolutely. Is my focus as well. And I'm glad that's your focus too. And I'm going to have to end this because we are, I went way further than I wanted to, but that's okay. We were going, it's okay. It just go with the flow. Now, Debbie says, and before we go, Debbie says, what are your classes for? Do you offer classes?
Yeah, so I'm in the process of creating a numerology class. Oh. And then probably later on this year, I will be offering Akashic record reading classes. So how to read your own records and access them. Oh, sweet. Mm-hmm.
So hopefully Debbie heard that, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everybody knows where to find me. Find me at Ropes and Wings. You can sign up for a session there. I'd love to do a session for you and help you to clean out any of these blocks that we have, so you can be living your best life, so you can be optimized. This earth suit could be optimized, and you could really literally just shoot for the stars because that's where we came from.
Absolutely.
So it's been a great talk, and we're going to do it again soon. I love y'all. I love you, Rebecca, and we will talk soon.
Thank you, Tony. I'm so honored to be here today.